if you would please keep your microphones on mute through the duration of the presentation. We will be monitoring your questions using the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your webinar window. If you have any need for any conversations that you need to have outside of this presentation, please feel free to email me at parentacademy@gm.sbac.edu, and we'll definitely get to those questions, and I'll get them answered for you. If I can't answer them, I'll definitely get you forwarded to the proper person that can take care of you. So also please note that all Parent Academy webinars are closed captioned and recorded for re-review for anyone that could not join us live tonight. Or if you'd like to just go back and simply look at it again, that option is going to be available for you. And so without further ado, thank you, ladies, for being here. If you want to just go ahead and introduce yourselves, that would be wonderful.
Hi, everybody. My name is Madison James. I am the lead job coach here at TeensWork Alachua. I'm very excited to be here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gael Michelle. I am a job coach at TeensWork Alachua. Nice to be here.
Thank you. So I'll go ahead and let you ladies take it over.
Amazing. Well, thanks everybody for coming to join us. Like I said, I'm excited to be here. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what TeensWork Alachua is, as well as our current sessions, and how you can get your teen involved with our program. So we are funded by the Children's Trust of Alachua County. We love them. And we are facilitated by Goodwill Industries of North Florida. So we, are kind of working together with the trust in terms of what our mission is. Goodwill's mission is removing barriers through education and training and mentorship. So it works really nicely with the trust's vision for this program, which is to provide eligible students with paid internships and job opportunities that prepare them to succeed in employment. So our big goal is making sure that the teens who come through our program feel prepared to go out into the world and make those big decisions about, what careers they're going into and who they'll become. So in service of that, we have a couple goals that we kind of keep in mind as we run our program. First is to build a talent pipeline. So we do this through mentoring, training, and leveraging the strengths of our youth. And we're dedicated to providing positive outlets for teens to explore and develop their career aspirations, build their leadership skills, and foster professional connections. That talent pipeline is really important to us because we want to make sure that the teens who come through our program are building those networks with their peers, with potential employers. They get to make really great impressions on the kind of employers throughout our county, and in their like specific communities, which kind of goes straight into our other half of our goal, which is building a stronger community. So we invest in our youth, and we're laying the foundation for their future careers and strengthening their ties to the community. I think something really important to us is making sure that, Gainesville, Alachua County, High Springs, Hawthorne, all these places feel like they're actual places. They're not just kind of like, oh, UF is there, whatever. We're trying to make sure that the teens who are here, who are really excellent young people, can use their strengths right here in the community, and they don't have to go off to, whatever the big cities to kind of build their strengths. So our goal is to make sure that, we keep building up Alachua County. So if you perhaps have a student who is interested in TeensWork, there are some eligibility requirements for them. Right now, students are paid $10 an hour. In our next session, they would be working 10 hours a week for 10 weeks. It kind of depends on the session we're running, how many hours they can work and how many weeks it runs. But our next session is the fall, so it does run for 10 weeks, 10 hours a week. Our youth must meet the following requirements to be eligible. They have to be between the ages of 14 and 18. They have to reside in Alachua County. They have to be enrolled in an Alachua County school, GED program or high school equivalency program. So if your student does take, or you know a student who takes like virtual school or things like that, they would count as well, as long as it's Alachua County based. And they also have to have never participated in TeensWork before. This last one is a slightly newer requirement that we've gotten down from the trust, but it's in service of trying to serve as many students as possible. So we're really excited to be able to serve as many students as we possibly can. I'll tell you a little bit more about our upcoming session, which is going to be fall. So we do a fall leadership program. 2025 will be our third year running that program, which we piloted in 2023. That first pilot year was about 25 students. And since then, we've cumulatively served about 81 students. And we teach leadership skills, civic engagement, and soft skills employability training. I very much love the leadership program because it's a little bit more in depth. It is a lot more intense, I would say, than our summer programming because students do, take the chance to go in person. They do this leadership course. They build a project. It is a lot of work for their students, but they always come through and do amazing with it. In this fall leadership program, we have a few goals that we kind of push to make sure they're actually building those leadership skills and not just wasting their time or just picking up a check. So first objective is leadership building. We call it fall leadership for a reason. So we do this through mentoring, training, open dialogue sessions, and speaker series. Our speaker series is really great because we want our students to become leaders in their schools, in their community. And to do that, obviously, they have their own kind of like wealth of leadership in their heart, but we also want them to see kind of who, like examples of what leadership would look like in our community. So some of the people we have brought on are going to be the Children's Trust CEO, Marsha Kiner, our CEO here at Goodwill, David Ray, other community leaders like Carrie Williams, who's the Fire and Rescue Chief, John Rollins over at Motivate You, and a ton of entrepreneurs and other community leaders here in Alachua County. So we give them as varied as we can examples of who they could become in their adulthood, and what they can kind of foresee themselves as, so that they can, rise to that challenge of leadership. Other of our objectives are completing a civic engagement project. So each student is tasked with identifying and researching a social issue of concern to them, and then they develop an action plan. They work together with a committee to address the community issue of their choice with the support of the job coach, who will, work with them throughout the session. So it's a really great opportunity for our students to start thinking civically and start kind of identifying what they think is going right with the community, what they think is going wrong, and kind of how they can address those things. Especially in our day and age, it's very important to us that our students are civically minded, and kind of pay attention to what's going on around them because things do move so quickly in terms of the news cycle. And then one of our other objectives is building building the soft skills in our teens. It's a little bit of a tongue twister there. So we do a lot of soft skills training with TeensWork Alachua. We facilitate financial literacy trainings, as well as we facilitate the state's Florida Ready to Work program, which is very excellent in teaching effective communication, conveying professionalism, critical thinking skills, and teamwork and collaboration skills. Soft skills are the number one thing employers say that employees are missing. They say that they are like hiring for all those things. So it's really important to us that every teen who comes through TeensWork is building soft skills because they're the number one thing that is hardest to build and everybody wants the most. So we want them to start early, building those soft skills, being professional, using those critical thinking skills, making analytical choices, all those good things. So they get a certification when they complete our fall programming, and they, get a lot of chances to practice those skills and continue building them from what they've already started. Just a couple kind of peer review so you can see how the students kind of feel of it. We do surveys every single year in terms of their satisfaction. And last year, I believe, oh, this is the wrong date, but this is our last year's results of their satisfaction survey. So 100% for every single one of these. The surveyed youth felt the program was valuable. They felt more confident, and they also felt better equipped to be a leader. So last year, like I said, was our second year. They all worked together to create a community beautification project. They created a toolkit to kind of be able to help other students who might come after them reach out to their community leaders and work towards more equitable beautification and things like that. They also did a few service projects where they went out and planted things and cleaned up and things like that. So I was very much proud of them last year, and we can see they were very much proud of themselves as well. So just to kind of on that note, a few success stories from our previous years. 70 students overall have earned that Florida Ready to Work certificate. One of our students in our very first session actually happened to earn the highest score in all of our company history at that point. I think she actually still maintains that title. But when they take that Florida Ready to Work certificate, they're all going up against her. She got the highest score. So many of our students also have gone on to win awards and receive college acceptance letters and scholarships after having joined our program. So we're very, very proud of all of our TeensWork interns who put in the hard work to kind of better themselves. And like I said, these are just a few kind of success stories. I won't read them out to you because they're here on the screen, but I tend to find that teens who go through our leadership program specifically do build that leadership skill. You can see it when they like come back for the next thing, they like talk to you and you're like, oh, I really do see that thing. And I think they also get to see it in themselves and, their parents see and all those good things as well. I know I'm talking fast here. Um, a couple tips for success for a TeensWork intern. Number one is going to be apply with intention. We have a pretty protracted application process just because there are lots of questions and lots of ins and outs that we need to be sure the student, knows or we need to be aware of and things like that. So currently, our fall leadership program, the follow-up survey does require short answer responses. So our students really need to be sure to follow directions carefully and think about their responses regarding community issues that they care about. Like I said, they do that community civic leadership project. So we need to know what they care about because the project needs to be about what they care about. I'm not gonna, have them sit here and do something they don't care about, right? So they do need to actually want to be in the program and show that to us with how they apply and how they respond to emails and texts. So there are several steps in the application process. So students must check their email for updates. Ideally, when they're applying, they use their email and they keep track of it. Our program is all about building leadership skills, independence. So it's very important to us that our teens who come through our program are taking initiative in being the person who is contacted for their information. If you're the parent and you're applying with your information, you probably aren't eligible because we're 18 is the cap. So build your time management and leadership skills. Make sure that you are able to arrive to work on time, contribute positively, and put forth your best effort and complete assignments while also balancing other responsibilities. Like I said, this fall this fall program runs for 10 weeks. 10 hours a week doesn't sound like a lot, but with school, other extracurriculars, things like that, it can be a drag on our students' time. So we want to make sure they're committing to this, knowing that it's a big commitment. Successful students also are respectful and mindful in interactions with others. So obviously building those soft skills, those customer service and professional communication skills, how the students speak, handle conflicts, and present themselves really, really matters to us. And obviously it's a skill they can continue to learn, but we want to start from somewhere, right? They're also going to have realistic expectations and an open mind. So some of our programming can kind of feel like a class, but it is still a job, so it is important to take it seriously. And obviously want our students to be open to new perspectives and trying new things, and really invest their time in this program because otherwise they're not going to get as much out of it as other students do. And maybe most importantly for the way the economy is right now, save your earnings for our students. We really, really push financial literacy. It is one of our like biggest hallmarks that we want to push with TeensWork. Keeping up with their savings goals is really important to us. We want to make sure they're spending their money wisely because it's not an insignificant chunk of change. It's a couple dollars and cents that we want to make sure they're saving for college or for jumpstarting their career or something like that. So if your teen is interested in fall leadership, we do have the application open currently. Our application deadline is September 15th. But we can potentially close that if we reach spots. We don't want to keep it open when it's not a chance to have a spot. So just a few things on what to expect. Weekly in-person workshops with local leaders, financial literacy and job readiness training, one-on-one coaching with a dedicated job coach, plan and complete a civic leadership engagement project, build your leadership skills and confidence, and you do earn $14 an hour as a student. And then our schedule is going to be, we run from October 1st to December 14th is our last final possible day of work. I think that's actually the 12th would end up being that weekday. We do have weekly meetings, 4:30 to 7:30, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it is a time commitment. We host those here at our Goodwill Good Career Center on 34th Street. And we will also have a couple, community meetings we might go to or service activities on weekends or things like that. And again, those students do commit to 10 hours a week. Students are going to be ages 14 through 18, enrolled in Alachua County School. They're going to be a resident of Alachua County and they have not participated previously in TeensWork. So I do have a QR code here. I also have a link. I'm not sure how putting links out will work. Tina?
So typically, we only communicate through the Q&A. So there's no chat, but if you were to send a link to me, and if they reach out to me through the email, then I can definitely send it over to them.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'll send that link. If I can spell. After we close out here. But obviously there is a QR code here if anybody wants to scan that at this time. But so that's our fall leadership. We do, if that doesn't sound like the right thing for you or your teen, we do have a summer program as well. This is much larger than our fall programming. Our fall can only host about 40 students, whereas our summer can host about 250, a little bit over that. So in the summer, TeensWork pairs students to work at businesses all over Alachua County based on student interests and locations. So in the summer session, Students work in the community. They work for 6 to 8 weeks in the summer, and they must work for 20 to 25 hours each week. And they are paid $14 an hour as well. So like I said, fall is a big time commitment. So is the summer. Obviously, they have a little bit less to do because school isn't in session in the summer, but it is a pretty significant time commitment. For applying for the summer, our application opens in early January, so you should check in with us as that January starts rolling around because those applications, I believe last year we got just under 1,000 applications. So the name of the game is apply early and keep up with it. So you're gonna keep checking that email, completing every next step as soon as you hear about it, because that follow-up survey onboarding process, there's lots and lots of people who are vying for the spots, and 200 something does sound like a lot. But like I said, it's nothing compared to the amount of applications. So applying early, following up early is always the name of the game. For the summer, well, I guess technically all in all, but in addition to employment, TeensWork students develop social intelligence, learn work norms and soft skills and culture, and work culture, understand career pathways and educational opportunities. They build their professional networks. They gain financial literacy and management skills. So they gain a lot of really important skills throughout the summer, that they might, kind of learn different skills versus the summer and the fall. The summer internship is really nice for students who are kind of exploring careers that they're looking into or interested in, but maybe aren't sure yet whether they work for them. I think I have a slide. Oh, it's not this next one, but I'll come back to that. So some of the services that we do as TeensWork, we recruit the students. So that's part of this effort, and we want to kind of see who is interested. We match the students to businesses. We do all of the HR, onboarding, and paperwork. We do career training for the students. We give support to the employers, and we build students' financial literacy. So TeensWork does a lot for the students. I kind of like to call it like a safety net for their first job. I'm sure a lot of y'all remember like going to your first job and you're kind of like scared and nobody's really explaining to you what's going on. That's where TeensWork comes in. We're there helping with all the pay stuff. We explain taxes. We explain how to save. We explain like, oh, well, why does my boss want me to do this? And, I thought I could just do whatever, So we're here to kind of support the students through the entire process, so that they can actually be successful in that first job and learn as much as they possibly can. And for our business partners, they provide up to 25 hours of work each week. They provide that on-the-job training, that internship, that mentoring piece, which is really important to our students. They give real-time in-person feedback to those students, and they also obviously verify that the student was there, and working, and get to facilitate all the amazing work our students get to do throughout the summer. And so, like I said, that application process can be a little daunting. It has a lot of steps, but it kind of rolls through as you're kind of living your life and we're doing what we need to do. So, like I said, in January, our application opens up. And then in February, we are fielding applications, making sure all students and businesses are eligible through screenings and one-on-one meetings with work sites. Then in March, we start onboarding students. So we do interviews, we enroll them into our payroll system. They do a drug test and level 1 background screening. And then if needed, we help students establish bank accounts, and kind of input their direct deposit. So every single part of the process, we help them kind of go through, and they're not alone for any part of that process. We are doing business recruitment all throughout the year, but we make sure we have that really good list in April. We seek a wide assortment of businesses all over Alachua County to meet demand and student interest. And then in May, once we've completed our onboarding process, we begin job matching. So this is where we, pair students and businesses based off of student interest, proximity to the work site, and then the specifications of the business. So that what last part is a really tricky part because age, proximity, all those kinds of things can be very important to the business for what they need. So we want to make sure that we're placing students who will work best for the student, or we're pairing jobs and students when it works best for both. And then in June, we do our work readiness training. So we do orientation in early June before the primary work period begins. And they get started almost right after school ends, usually like that second week after school ends. And then we, work throughout the summer, and they end in late July. And they get to do like a end of year banquet and, celebrate themselves, get their certificates right there in early August. So yeah, it runs through January through early August. It feels like, for you guys, it's just that quick summer. But the process is, pretty intense for students. So we want to make sure if they're interested that they follow through on every single step. Because if the student decides, oh, I don't want to do onboarding, they're not going to be able to do the summer at all, right? So a complex process, but we try to make it as easy as it possibly can. And we have a great staff who is always here for questions, concerns as the months roll by. Okay, so here are just some examples. I know this is a giant list of a lot of names of some of our previous work sites these last couple of years. A couple I wanted to highlight. We do work with like colleges and universities. Oh, this isn't updated. We do work with Santa Fe College, and we have worked with some departments in the University of Florida as well. So if students are interested in pursuing like higher education or careers in higher education, there's great opportunities there. We also work with like city offices. So we work with the fire department, Parks and Recreation, Public Works, lots of great places to see the ins and outs of different career fields. We also work with finance and real estate, libraries, nonprofits, restaurants, boutiques, beauty services, lots and lots of things. So whatever your teen is interested in, we try to serve their need. Our biggest thing that students always ask us for is health and wellness. That is the hardest thing for teens to get into, just as a fun fact, because most of those health industries want their employees to be over 18, but we do also have a few of those, and we're always adding more and more work sites as we can. So if you're curious as to whether we can search for a work site for your teen, please mention it as your teen applies, and we will try our best to get them into that kind of field. Okay, so we can look at the numbers of TeensWork has served. At this point, we have served more than 900 students in our tenure existing as TeensWork. For 2024, the average each student earned was just like $5 over 1,600. So we're excited they get that, paycheck every Friday. They're excited. They're on their money. So you don't have to worry about that. And then in 2024, 38, 220 hours of work were clocked. So lots and lots of work is getting done by our teens. Like I said earlier, they work so hard, and they're getting paid for it. But they're also getting paid for in the things that that aren't as tangible, like those skills that we really want them to learn. And then a couple more statistics just so you can kind of be more aware of what's going on with TeensWork. 98% of teens report they gain valuable work experience, preparation for future jobs, and skills that will benefit them in the future. And 96% of employers agree that teens gain their valuable skills. So my favorite thing about TeensWork is that we get to hear from these work sites, or one of my favorite things, year after year, like they'll tell us about students they had 2 years ago And they'll be like, oh, so and so, told me that she just got accepted to such and such college. I'm so excited. And that's a team that they haven't had at their work site for many years. And they just love them so much they keep in contact, or they, whatever the case is, they hire many students on sometimes, depending on the business, obviously. So it's really nice to see that the work sites and the students get to make those connections through our program. And then just here's a couple pictures of our various students at their various jobs. I won't name names just in case they don't want to be put on blast, but there are many, many different job experiences our students get to have. And like I said, we really try to tailor those to what the student is interested in. If at the very least they get to see what that career is like and decide whether they like it or not. Some of them, if they do decide they really like it, they get to make that connection. And even if they don't decide they like it, they still make the connection, and they, didn't waste, 4 years of their life in college before they found out they didn't like that career field, whatever it may be. So I think that's a really useful facet of our program. As students get to try on new careers for whatever for the summer, before they, go off into the world. So that's all my rambling. Do we have any questions or concerns, thoughts?
Okay, so I think there are tons of questions. And I think she has been answering them, but do you mind kind of reading through them? Because
Yes.
other parents might, or students even, might want to know those same answers.
Okay, let me see. Yes, I do see a couple questions about whether students who have previously participated can participate again. I think I had previously addressed this, but yes, it is a new requirement starting this fall. Students who have participated can no longer participate multiple sessions in a row. That's partially because we're trying to make sure every single student gets a quality experience. We don't want students to have to come back every year and get the same trainings. And, if they did a certificate program one year, they can't get that certificate again. So we want to make sure that we're not kind of wasting students' time. And then also we want to make sure that we can serve as many students in Alachua as we can. So we really, our heart is broken by that. Like me personally, I'm like, but it is part of what we kind of have to do as a program. Um, and then
So then just to clarify, so if they did the summer, they can't do the fall, but can they come back for the summer?
no. So at this point, if they have done any session of TeensWork, that was their first and last session. So Um, we are discussing like kind of internally with our funder about, what returning actually looks like for students. But as of right now, we've kind of put a stop to students returning if they have joined us before. I also see somebody in the chat here asked whether students should use their school email or their personal email. We encourage that students use their personal email. The school firewall is pretty intense. So if you want to get our emails, you should use a personal email and also not an iCloud email. And also on a similar note, if your teen applies with their email, have them check and see if their inbox is full. Because if their inbox is full, I can't email them. So, keep it keep an eye on it. Obviously we want to build that independence, but also, there's some things they might not think to check. I also see whether they have to work Thanksgiving. Our fall program skips the week of Thanksgiving. So there are still 10 weeks, but it's not 10 consecutive weeks. Um, um, I see somebody asking about scheduling. For our fall programming, we do that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, strictly just that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then have like some service activities on the weekends. For our summer programming, that schedule is built based off of your availability. So if you feel like you wouldn't have the time um, over the fall, wait out for the summer because we can help work through that schedule. Um,
And Miss Cassandra, I can get some information sent over to you. She said she joined late, so I'll make sure that she gets that.
yes, and I can send these slides out as well.
Okay.
Um, and then I see somebody's asking when the summer application opens, that opens in early January. We can send that out once it opens up, and you guys can have your join your name to the list. Um, and I also see a question about like whether employment is based on first come, first serve. Yes, TeensWork operates because we have so many students who apply. We operate on first come, first serve basis, but the caveat I want to put there is if you apply and say you're the first application, but you then never reply to any of our emails or never follow through with any of the next steps, we can't do anything for you because you need to do the follow through as well. So like I said, we have a few steps in our application process. We do that follow-up survey, that onboarding, coming to the interview, all those things. So if you applied first, great, you got to keep going through the steps first too. It's kind of like a tiered process. But yes, we do try to be as fair as we possibly can. Perfect.
And then
And
they're asking about how data is collected. Is that through the surveys?
um, oh, like the data in the slideshow.
Yeah, it just says how is data collected. So
Various of the data is collected through our student satisfaction survey or our worksite satisfaction survey. Um, our like work hours and things are tracked as they are worked. Kind of various different tracking methods. Um, so yeah, we have a lot of different ways we track that information.
so if my son turns 14 in December, can he participate or does he have to wait for the next year?
So for each session, students had to be 14 at the start of the session. So for our fall, if he turns 14 in December, he would not be eligible, but he would be eligible for the summer. If you had a student who turned 14 on June 1st, they're eligible for the summer. But if they turn 14, June 14th, they would be eligible for whatever next session opens.
Okay. And then you said the times were from 4:30 to 7:30.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are our in-person times. And then they do have 1 hour kind of excess, and that can be used on kind of depending on whether we have like outside events or community service hours. But they can also work towards other things like they'll have little assignments and things like that to continue working on their civic leadership project. So they get 10 hours in total, but one of those hours can be remote or can be in person, depending on what the schedule looks like.
Okay. And so, because these two questions kind of couple up, so the one of them says 4:30 to 7:30 for the times of the week. That's 9 hours. How do they get that additional 1 hour, which you just said that you guys will figure out how to make that up? And then this other one says, do you know if the times Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that they work is right after school? I'm not exactly sure what time each school lets out, but definitely 4:30 is after school.
Yes. Um, I believe I might be wrong, obviously, depending on like certain schools, but as a lot of our schools get out at 2:42, I believe. So they have a couple hours between end of school and the start of our day like class sessions so they can, get what they need to get together and, relax for a second, eat a little quick sandwich or whatever before they come through. I also see somebody asked, it looks like the program is open for seniors. Yes. So in the fall, we can accept seniors. The difference between the fall and the summer in terms of seniors is that students have to be Alachua County or teens have to be Alachua County students to participate. Once the summer rolls around, if they were a senior in the previous school year, they technically no longer count as seniors. That's a rule. Me personally, I'm like, "Ugh," but we follow the rules. So, for the fall, we can accept seniors, which we're very glad for because we love our seniors and we think they really need the chance to, get a little bit of money, get a little bit of skills, all those good things.
And Jennifer, if you want to go ahead and leave your email address so that way we can get those slides sent over to you. Okay, and then would students need a bank account before joining, or does the program help with that?
Yes. Teens do need a bank account to be to participate in our program because they get paid. And our part of our thing is financial literacy. We want to make sure they're being responsible with their money. So they do need to have that bank account if you or your family has a specific bank that they prefer to work with, that you prefer to work with. That should be made, that account should be made before they come into our program. Um, if you don't have a preferred one, TeensWork does happen to partner with ViStar. So we do have a ViStar representative at every single one of our onboarding events, where the student can set up their teen savings account and their teen checking account with ViStar, and get all the ins and outs of that.
Okay. And so I'm just taking down, can you send me pictures and information to my email? Yes, I will take your email address down as well, Miss Smith.
I also see somebody asked whether the parent is responsible for getting them to the job site, and how many times a week. It seems like maybe that is referring to the summer. For the fall, obviously it's those 3 days a week. And then maybe a Saturday or so, a couple Saturdays throughout the fall. And yes, these students and their families are responsible for getting them to the work site. Same goes for the summer. The how many times a week depends on the student themselves and the schedule they work out with their supervisor. We do help the students build that schedule with the supervisor, so it's not kind of like on them to negotiate that. But it is a time commitment for both the student and the family associated with them, in terms of getting them to and from work. But we try to make it, as easy as possible. Like I say, that location is really important to us when we're placing students. So we're TeensWork Alachua. We count for the entire county of Alachua, and we don't just have jobs in Gainesville. We have jobs throughout all of the areas in Alachua, and throughout, as far as the county line. So we try to make it as easy as possible to get students to and from work. And if students, wow, what am I saying? When we do place students, we do try to let them know, like, here's your placement, let us know if there's any transportation issues so that we can make those corrections if we need to. So we try to make it as easy as possible.
Okay. Okay, I see. I got you, Mr. Smith. And I call you Mr. or Mrs. because you are getting to be that age where you're on here and wanting to work, so they might refer to you at work that way. So you have to get used to that, and that's a great thing. So have you ever have you worked with any physical therapy offices?
Off the top of my head, I don't think we have had any physical therapy offices as work sites. Um, But we, like I said a little bit before, we are always working to get more different and varied work sites, and I'll add it to our list.
And then what was our other question? Will the link come back at the end? Will you mind sharing the link again?
Yes, I think I have it right here.
Okay.
Perfect.
And I'm just going through and making sure that I have everyone's email address that put that in there for me.
Mhm. Oh, I see in the do you have any hair salons involved? Yes, we do work with beauticians, hair salons, estheticians. So you'd have your pick depending on where you stay at.
So, okay, and then I see where you all put the Teens Work email or maybe website. Is that I'm not looking at the page that you have pulled up, but do you have the Teens Work?
Yes. So we are
Okay.
TWA at goodwillnorthfl.org. You can also reach us by phone. You can text or call this phone number, 904-606-5178. And if you forget all of that information as well, you can find us on the Goodwill website. Even if you just Google Goodwill, we're there right under you can find us.
And so again, I'm just taking down everyone's email addresses that put them in for me. And I'll get you over their slides that she shares with me for you guys. And
Well, I see a couple more questions here. Do we have any carpenters or builders? Yes, we work with a few different construction type companies, depending on what students are working on or we're looking for in terms of those kinds of fields. We are excited to work with, different folks like that. Students get their paychecks through direct deposit. They get paid every week on Fridays. And they, get to save their money ideally. Um, I also see when they Janelle, I'm not positive what you're asking. In terms of the internship, they work with one work site for the session. Um, So we ask them what their like top three interests are in terms of career fields, and what they're like most interested in. And we pair them tends to be with one of their top three.
and then if anyone would like additional information, please go ahead and put your email address in the Q&A so that way I can copy it down and get it over to you. And if you can't access it for whatever reason, please feel free to email me. It's going to be parentacademy@gm.sbac.edu. Well, you guys have some awesome questions. So glad that you joined and you're participating. All right. What are the days/hours for summer? Oh, did y'all already?
Um, It would depend on the worksite availability as well as the students' availability. Usually students tend to work, it'll depend on the business, of course, but students tend to work mostly during the week, but obviously students can work on the weekend if that fits the schedule better for the worksite and the student. Um, and obviously they have to work within the like federal laws, but other than that, it's kind of free up to what is the availability.
Okay. And then she wrote during the summer session, students are required to work 20 to 25 hours a week.
Yes.
Okay, the specific days are with eligibility. Okay, and then I think from the last time we did this session, I believe that you all said that you would work with them, I guess, during the summer if they have like summer vacations planned and things like that for them to
Yes.
make up that time.
Yes, so we run in the summer 6 to 8 weeks. So that first 6 weeks is what we call our primary work period. And that is where ideally the student gets all of their hours done and they, do their internship and then they're done. If they happen to be sick or if they have a scheduled vacation or if they have like a week of camp or training or whatever, um we can work with them and they can make up those hours at the end of the summer session. So they get to, we understand that they have lives and it's not only work.
Okay. And then the email address again to reach myself is going to be parentacademy@gm.sbac.edu. And you can always go onto the Alachua County Public Schools website and search for Parent Academy or myself, and you'll be able to find me. It's 40 hours for the fall. Oh, the absolute maximum teen students will be accepted.
As far as I know, I believe 40 is what we are allowed to start with. But if things go crazy, I wouldn't like it. I would turn it over to my program manager to know who could be kind of accepted over that 40, but I believe 40 is the cap as well.
Okay. Will the students choose a final community issue they will work towards resolving during the course of the fall program? And then can you share a few of that the previous students have done?
Yeah. So yes, the students all vote on the final community issue they want to do the project on. And then they do work towards completing whatever their project ends up being. So those community issues come straight from the students, obviously with a little bit of input from us on what is actually feasible to do in 10 weeks. Um, our last year, students worked cumulatively on that civic leadership project, which we will go forward in doing. Last year, they worked on community beautification, specifically focusing on the east side of Gainesville. As a lot of our students are from the east side of Gainesville, they felt like that was the area they wanted to work on beautifying. So they had a great project last year. And then the previous year, we were still feeling out, that was our pilot year, what the project would look like. So each student did their own individual research project and did some community service like kind of as their self. A couple of those projects were like bullying or topics, like bullying in high schools. A couple students did really great projects on literacy rates and like how to address those. One of our students who is amazing did her project on gun violence and things like that in school. So a lot of different and varied project topics. And I have seen a lot of great potential topics from the surveys this year. So I'm excited to see what they'll get into this year as well.
Nice. Well, I think we have answered all of the questions, and I've taken down all of the email addresses, and as soon as the slides are sent to me, I will get them over to you all. The video will take a little bit of time to edit and get uploaded, but that will be on the Parent Academy website for you guys to re-review it, or if you contact me after I send it, I can after I send you the slides and you say, well, I want the video too. I can definitely, once it is done in that edit mode, then I can go ahead and get it sent over to you as well. And I really think that's it. That was very informative. I am so excited that you guys are always so willing to come and join me. When I saw the email come through about the program that you guys were having, I immediately was like, please come on, please tell our parents about it. And you guys were super willing to get that done and like right away. So I thank you for that. We did have another question pop up. Where do you meet and sign the papers? And I think that's going to be at the Goodwill.
Yes. Students, all of our stuff happens at the Goodwill here on 34th Street in Gainesville. That's where our classes will be hosted. And as well, that is where their onboarding, interview, all that good stuff will happen as well for the fall. And then for the summer, if students join an internship, they do it at a specific work site, which we communicate to them.
Okay. And I see somebody said, hold on real quick, don't end it. Okay.
But yeah. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys for having us. We're always excited to, get more teens through the program. Like I say, one of our big goals is to reach as many of our Alachua County students as we possibly can. So yeah.
Okay, so somebody is saying when and what is the date? I'm not sure. You may have just answered something and they're just like following up on that question. Not
Um,
sure.
I'll give you a few dates and hopefully I answer it. Our fall programming, our application closes September 15th and is open right now. The fall session begins October 1st, ends the week of December 14th, and we do skip that Thanksgiving week. And then our fall or our summer programming applications will open in January. And students will start working in June of 26. Hopefully that's
Okay.
the right dates.
Okay, and I'm trying to get back to my page here. All right. So I just got the last 3 emails. Do you have to do it online or in person? That same person said.
TeensWork is mostly in person. So for this summer, you will do all of your work in your internship at the business you are assigned to. And then for the fall, most of the work will be in person, but you might have chances to do online certifications or things like that. I think I also see, so fall is only Goodwill. Fall is the leadership program. So we are Goodwill, so we host it here at our facility. But it's not like if you apply to work at Goodwill, you'd be applying for a different job than what the fall leadership is.
Okay. All right. So I will go ahead and start to close us out because we are approaching our 7 o'clock hour to end our session. So again, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. It was our absolute pleasure to host and have our host here available with us. Again, my name is Tina Folston Hayes. I'm the Parent Academy Specialist for Alachua County Public Schools. And I look forward to you all joining me again next week on Thursday. I'm actually going to have Santa Fe College come and talk to us about dual enrollment. So if any of my families are interested in dual enrollment, please, please, please come and join me. You'll have a more informative session just like this one. And again, to my host of this evening, thank you so much. I will be asking you guys to come back on when the application gets ready to open up for the summer, so that way our families are given that opportunity to meet with you guys and ask questions again about the summer program, because some may not have wanted to do the fall or too busy with sports and things to do that. So I look forward to you guys coming back, and thank you again as always. And have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
Oh, let me see. We got one. Oh, you something in the chat. Okay, we're good. All right. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
All
Well, thank
right.
you so much.
Okay, bye, y'all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good evening.
You too. Yes, I will send you the information. Just put your email in the group chat or in the Q&A for me, and I'll go ahead and take that down for you, Noah. I'll wait for you to send that before I end it. Got it. You're very welcome. All right, you guys have a wonderful evening. Good night.